stopping by. My name is Edshara, and today we are talking October TBR. Now, I am not a big fan of horror, so a lot of the books that I've chosen are mystery thriller, which is kind of my favorite genre. I've also chosen a couple of middle grade spooky books, as well as a couple of sort of ghost books, but they're more on the tamer side and not so much scary. I have already read 3 books this month, but I do have quite a bit more on my list, so I'm going to go ahead and jump in. The first book that I'm actually currently reading is The Doll's House, and this is book 3 in the Helen Grace series by M.J. Arledge. I already read books 1 and 2 last week, and they were Eeny, Meeny, and Pop Goes the Weasel. And basically this series follows a British detective as she hunts down serial killers, and so far every book has been a different serial killer. The second book that I'm also currently reading is The Restorer, and this is book 1 in the Graveyard Queen series by Amanda Stevens. I have already read this book before. I read it a couple of years ago, but I wanted to continue the series, but I knew I wasn't going to remember anything about it. And this is basically it follows a young woman who is a graveyard restorer, but she also has the ability to see ghosts. So far, my reread isn't really holding up, but I'm hoping that that'll change for me. I did read the prequel to this series, which was called The Abandoned, and I'm kind of wishing I hadn't read that. It was okay as far as the little mystery that was in it, but as far as introducing my characters, I wasn't really pleased with it. And so I was a little bit disappointed that I read it, and I wonder if that had some sort of effect on the book. But I do plan on reading book 3 as well, which is The Kingdom, just because I want to see what happens with our 2 main protagonists. So we'll see if I continue the series. Next, I want to read The Peculiar Incident on Shady Street by Lindsay Curry. This was a pre-order for me. I don't have it yet. It does come out October 10th. And this is a book about a girl named Tessa who moves from Florida to Chicago, and she unravels a centuries-old mystery after her and her family move into a haunted house. So I'm pretty excited for this one. I've had this one pre-ordered since I think August. And I am patiently waiting for the next book that I want to read is The Long Fall. It is book 1 in the Leonid McGill mystery series by Walter Mosley. In this one, you have Leonid McGill. He is a former boxer and alcoholic, and he is now a private investigator, and he has been tasked by some well-paying people to kind of hunt down these people on this list, but then those people start to turn up dead, so he is conflicted because he's trying to do things on the straight and narrow, and you know, it's not working out where he can kind of do that easily. So I'm interested in this book because it is an African-American private investigator, which I'm very excited about, but I've never read any of Walter Mosley's work, so I'm hoping that I really enjoy this book and that it's not too over the top for me. The next book is The Jumbies by Tracy Baptiste, and this one is kind of based around Caribbean folklore. I've been wanting to read this one for a while. I haven't gotten around to it, so I'm excited to give it a go. And this is about a girl named Corinne who has to save her island home from the Jumbies, which are scary spirits that haunt the forest. So I'm very excited for this one. Like I said, I've wanted to read this one for a while, so I'm pretty interested, and I have my fingers crossed that I love it. And the last ebook of sorts that I want to read is Southern Spirits, and this is the first book in the Southern Ghost Hunter Mysteries by Angie Fox. And this one is about a woman who is, I think she's an out-of-work graphic designer, and her name is Verity Long, and she accidentally traps a ghost onto her property. And so not only does she get kind of a ghost sidekick, but she also inherits or gains the ability to see spirits, which she didn't have before. So that one looked really interesting, and like I said, I think it's more on the tamer side, so it'll be right up my alley. I also have a couple of physical books that I own that I would like to try to read this month. So I have The Sinner by Tess Gerritsen. This is book 3 in the Rizzoli and Isles series. I really enjoy this series, and I hope to own all of the books in the series, which is why I have been collecting them in mass market paperback, because this is a long series and mass market paperback is cheaper. But this particular book in the series is about 2 nuns who are attacked. One is murdered and one is critically injured. And it follows Jane Rizzoli, who is a detective, and Maura Isles, who is the medical examiner. And like I said, this is such a fun series. I started off watching the TV show and then got into the books. I didn't finish the TV series. I actually stopped, I think, a couple of seasons or a season before Lee Thompson Young's death. And so it's been a while since I've been sort of in this world, and I can't wait to get back to my girls, because I really do love Rizzoli and Isles, and I'm excited to continue the series. So hopefully I will get to that this month. So next up, I have the 3rd book in the Fablehaven series by Brandon Mull. This one is The Grip of the Shadow Plague. And this particular book is about, there is a plague that is turning beings of light into creatures of darkness. And I just read book 2 last month, and it was okay, so I'm hoping that this one is a lot better from start to finish than book 2 was. But either way, I'm really eager to continue the series. So the last book that I have to talk about today is Never Smile at Strangers by Jennifer Janes. This was one that I started reading last year. I got to chapter 50, page 197, but there was a lot going on in my life, and I ended up putting it down just because I didn't want to have a bad reading experience with this book, because I wasn't able to really focus on it and kind of give it the attention that a mystery needs. So I put it down. So I do hope to get to it this month and give it another try to see if I actually will enjoy it. This one is about how local girls in the small town of Grand Trespass, Louisiana, are going missing, and residents are starting to understand that as these girls go missing, it's probably somebody in the town who's doing it, and they have to figure that out before too many girls end up not coming home. So I'm very interested in this. Like I said, I hope I enjoy it. I hope I can get back into it. I will start over from the beginning, because I don't really remember what I read back last year. But I hope to give it a try this month as well. So this is probably the most books that I have had on a TBR in a couple of months. I have been purposely keeping my TBRs pretty small, to like 5 books or less. So I am tentatively hoping to read all of these books this month. Like I said, I've already read 3 of them, and I'm currently reading 2 of them. So we shall see. But I will let you know how the month goes in my monthly wrap-up, of course. But until then, or until my next video, I should say, God bless, guys. Bye. Seriously, I'm going to leave it there until I'm finished, because rude.